Sons of Anarchy. Honestly, one of the greatest TV shows ever made. Definitely in the top 10 for sure. Man, I need to rewatch the series again. It's been a couple years since I've seen it, but the spinoff of Sons of Anarchy, dope, real dope. But let's check out this video. The top 10 Sons of Anarchy deaths. Ooh, this should be interesting. We already know number one, but let's check out the rest.
I got this. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 deaths in Sons of Anarchy.
He's a good man, Jax. Stay close to him.
I know it's still a sad day for your family. It's the right thing. Put your hands on the wheel.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most shocking and stunning deaths that occurred on Sons of Anarchy. Which death do you find the most memorable? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. Half-Sack Epps. Poor Half-Sack. As a prospective member of the Sons of Anarchy, Half-Sack was often the target of playful hazing. It helped make him one of the more sympathetic characters, and it only served to deepen the tragedy of his death.
What are you doing? What do you want?
Wishing to protect Jax's son Abel, Half-Sack confronts a gun-wielding Cameron Hayes. He gets a knife to the gut in return. Ironically enough, despite being the only main character to not commit a killing, Half-Sack was the first main character to die. It only went to show that the crime drama wasn't bowing to character likability. The series is ultimately a tragedy, and what better way to demonstrate that than the death of the lovable Half-Sack?
Wow, yeah.
Baby, tell him!
Shit. Number 9, Wayne Unser. Despite being a dirty cop, Unser was also one of the series' most likable characters. Throughout much of the show,
He should be higher.
The corrupt chief of the charming police department, who worked with the Sons to keep further criminal action out of his quiet hometown. Unser nearly makes it to the end, but his loyalty to Gemma ends up costing him.
I need to be alone with my mother. I can't do that.
Unser attempts to arrest Gemma and send her to jail, thereby saving her life from a vengeful Jax. Unfortunately, Jax gets to Gemma's location first and shoots Unser in the chest. It was only a matter of time before Unser died, and watching him remain so loyal to Gemma was a great and ultimately tragic way for the character to go. Number 8, Bobby Munson. Poor Bobby went out in a really brutal fashion, showcasing Sons of
I
Anarchy
remember
as
this.
most ruthless. Throughout much of the show, Bobby remained one of the most loyal members of the club, as he backed Jax's plan against the Lynn Triad and August Marks.
Whatever it is, it'll just be bringing back to one of us slitting our throat.
Instead, the latter ends up kidnapping Bobby and forces him to endure some horrific treatment. And just when it seems like Bobby will be rescued by the Sons, August shoots him in the head right in front of Jax. Bobby's character arc came to a terribly distressing end, making for the most gut-wrenching string of episodes in the show's history.
Sorry.
Number 7, Piney Winston. One of the older members of the Sons, Piney was the father of Opie and one of the founding First Nine.
Give me the 9. And a boot.
As such, he generally held a take-no-nonsense approach to the club's actions and wasn't afraid of voicing his displeasure at some of its decisions. Unfortunately, this personality trait came back to haunt him, as his vocal discontent with Clay's leadership results in his death.
Just leave her out. Too late.
It's quite a distressing demise, as he dies knowing that Clay will be going after Tara. He is shot in the chest with his own shotgun, making him another victim of Clay's increased instability and hunger for control. Number 6, June Stahl.
I was happy
It's
she
impressive
died.
that on a show filled with murderous criminals, an ATF agent somehow comes across as one of its biggest monsters.
Because your VP made a deal.
Son of a bitch!
One of the primary antagonists of the first 3 seasons, June Stahl was an arrogant agent whose wild approach to law enforcement often resulted in needless tragedy. For example, she attempts to flip Opie against the club, which results in his wife's accidental death. Fortunately, Opie gets his revenge in the third season finale, referencing Donna's death right before shooting Stahl in the back of the head.
This is what she felt.
There was a certain narrative satisfaction watching the otherwise haughty June Stahl crying and begging for her life, knowing that consequences were finally being paid.
If you had mercy before, I'm begging you. Don't do this.
Number 5, Clay Morrow.
Number
The entire
5?
series was building up to Clay's death. Sons of Anarchy is largely modeled after Hamlet, and like Hamlet, it contains a vengeful son vying to kill the man who violently usurped his father. It took until season 6, but Clay's death proved one of the show's most memorable moments.
That wasn't the plan.
Clay goes out like the tough man he is, accepting his death and facing it with dignity. Unfortunately, he suffers quite a violent and prolonged demise as Jax shoots him in the throat. In some ways, it turned Clay into a sympathetic character, and Jax an unlikable one. It was a fun trick that the writers pulled on the audience, and it worked flawlessly.
What went down today was us burying the last piece of a very broken past.
Number 4, Tara Knowles. Proving one of the show's most tragic characters, Tara should not have been mixed up with the Sons.
At all.
Do me a favor. I think your little brother might be scared.
She showed great skill as a doctor, and she was absent from Charming for 11 years while working in Chicago. Unfortunately, she returned to Charming, got back with her high school boyfriend Jax, and fell in with Sam Crow.
Just be a good one.
Marrying Jax and having children with him means dealing with his unbalanced mother, and said mother ends up killing Tara in a gruesome fashion. It's easily one of the show's most grotesque moments.
Yeah.
Dispatching of a major
Oh,
character
man.
in shocking fashion, and turning one of its antagonists even more despicable. Number 3, Opie Winslow.
Oh,
This young
man,
was literally
Opie.
born into the club, being the son of a founding member. He remains fiercely loyal to it as a consequence, despite the fact that he's not really made for that kind of life.
He'll run for the school district. All right.
It'd be fun. Have some time to hang with the kids.
Opie is a good man, and violence is not in his blood. He's one of the most pure and innocent characters, and his brutal death is easily the show's saddest. Opie's downfall comes in season 5 when he sacrifices himself for the club. He is forced to fight Damon Pope's men in prison, and they beat him to death with a pipe. Both the show and Jax were never the same after this, with both turning significantly darker and more violent.
I'm getting released. There's nothing you can do to stop that. I'll find out who you are and where you live. And then I'm gonna kill you.
Number 2, Gemma Teller Morrow. Sons of Anarchy is not a happy show, and it ends with the son committing
You think?
matricide. Gemma usually had the best interests of the club in mind, but many of her actions only made things worse.
This is not an excuse. I'm not defending myself.
For example, she killed her son's wife and mother of her grandchildren, which only resulted in a vengeful son. Once Jax learns the truth about Tara's death, he hunts down his own mother and ends up shooting her in the back of the head.
I'm ready.
Her death was quite narratively satisfying, especially after the troubles she had caused Jax and the club. But there's definitely a strong undercurrent of tragedy, and her death signals the beginning of the end. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. David Hale. Quite a surprising death in the third season premiere. Dawn Traeger. Burned in front of her father.
Oh, no.
A.J. Weston. A death on the toilet. Eli Roosevelt. Killed by Juice after walking in on Tara's murder. Donna. Accidentally killed by Tig while driving Opie's truck.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get
I wonder who
notified
number
of
one
latest
could be.
videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Jax Teller. Of course, the most memorable death has to be that of the main character. Jax goes through quite a degrading character arc, beginning as a relatively well-meaning biker intent on avenging his father, and finishing as a career criminal who resorted to the same violent extremes he so hated as a young member. After promoting Chibs to club president, Jax heads out on his father's motorcycle, intent on leaving the life of crime and sparing his sons from an equally destructive future. He rides his father's bike into a semi-truck, dying in the same manner, on the same road, and riding the same bike as his father before him. It's a tragically poetic way for the story to conclude.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Watch Mojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
I don't know what else to say. The list got it right. Jax obviously is number one. Obviously number one. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. Like the video, show me some love, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, peace out, y'all.